Welcome back to West Ham Official. I hope you are all well. It's international break. We're doing something a little bit different, and we have former professional cricketer Matt Pardo on about a month ago, and we are tonight joined by also former professional cricketer for Worcester and Somerset Gareth Andrew. Gareth, good evening.
Evening, Jake. Thanks for having me on, mate.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for coming on. So you played professional cricket for, as I said, Worcester and Somerset. Just to start off, what was it like to do that? Perhaps living your dream.
Oh, it was well. You're extremely fortunate to be able to play any sport at a professional level, at that elite level. Um, it's something that you work really, really hard with. You work hard on over a number of years as a youngster. So to be given a chance, first of all, it was an extremely privileged position at Somerset when I was younger to turn pro at quite a young age. And then, after 16 years of professional game, I look back and see myself as being very, very lucky to be able to rub shoulders with some great cricketers.
Yeah, definitely. There's people in the chat. If you've got questions for Gareth, get them in near the end of the show. I've got some questions to ask, and then if there's any in the live chat, we'll come down and say hello. Hello Andy. Hope you are well, mate. Scott's in as well. Hope you're well. And Tom as well. Good evening. So in terms of questions, then first one that I've got. At what age did you start playing cricket?
I think I was about 9 years old. Just because I like playing all sports, football, cricket, rugby, and cricket just started to be one of those sports Dad played. So used to be, used to watch him on the weekends and just really got the bug, and then it just went from there.
Yeah, yeah. When you play for Bruton, this is the first one that Dad's brought out. When you play for Bruton, was that the best captain you ever played for?
Yeah. uh, well, I suppose your dad goes into that books with the likes of Justin Langer, Ricky Ponting, Vikram Solanki, Graham Hick, who else? Captain Graham Smith. I've been very lucky to play under some James Vince, some pretty outstanding captains, really. So yeah, your dad can say that he's in rubbing shoulders with those sort of guys.
Yeah. What was it like making your debut for Somerset?
Oh, I was seriously nervous. I remember, I think it was a one-day game at Taunton against Durham at the time. So I sort of missed out on probably making my debut the year before because I was probably a little bit too young, but also a bit too much of a tearaway with the ball, and I just didn't really fit into the side. But I had a winter away, came back and proved some people that I was ready. So that was 2003, and yeah, started off really, really well, and then I think I went straight into the 4-day side. Straight after that, made my debut at Hampshire. I played some first class cricket beforehand, but that was the proper championship debut. But yeah, it was as soon as you get going, you get the bug. You live on that adrenaline and that pressure, those pressure moments, and just loved every bit of it. But yeah, I was like a shaking dog in the changing room before rolling out onto the pitch at Somerset, which still now holds a huge amount of memories for me, and still I'd probably class it as home.
Yeah. What's your fondest memory playing for Somerset?
I suppose the success in the 2005 2020. I didn't make the finals because I had a pretty dodgy ankle that year, but I played every game up into it, and I think I played the quarterfinals going into finals day with a local anaesthetic in my ankle so I could get through the game. And I think I was leading wicket taker until going into that, and Blackie, I think, blew away Leicester in the semi-finals. But yeah, that for a young side that we'd been put together, we were the underdogs. Graham Smith came in, and he was just amazing to be around. He led the troops really, really well, got the best out of everyone, and we had loads of fun. And then for the finals day, we had the England guys come back: Andy Caddick, Richard Johnson, Marcus Trescothick came back into the side. So it can't be too better than that, really, to see all the guys go over the line and then run on to the Oval that night. It was brilliant.
Yeah. Another one says, you were an usher at my mum and dad's wedding. I wasn't personally born. So what can you tell me about the day?
Uh, I was an usher at your mum and dad's wedding. You're right. I don't remember a huge amount about the day or the night, but I do remember there's been some very good speeches from the best man. I remember it being hot and sunny, and I was amazed that I managed to fit in a day off in the cricket season. So they're very very lucky to I managed it, because there's so many other friends of mine over the years where they just don't even invite you. So I'm now I'm retired. I quite like taking the odd weekend off playing some club cricket to go to a wedding.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go, mum and dad. You're watching. There you go. You've got a huge privilege there. um. Was it easy making a move to Worcester? Because when you finished your time at Somerset, you moved on to Worcester. What was that like, and did you fit in quickly?
It was a big change. I think leaving Somerset, where it was my childhood dream to play at Somerset, it was probably just the right time for me for my career, and it helped a lot. I think it was the right time in my life. I think sometimes you can go stale over a period of time. I think I needed to grow up a little bit outside of cricket, and take a big step out of what I knew into the new realms of moving and relocating and everything that went with that, not knowing anyone. So, but then when I got to Worcester, I came into quite a very mature dressing room, some amazing cricketers in and there. And I managed to sign at the same time as me and Simon Jones signed at that year going into 2008 season. So we got on really really well. I got to watch him bowl from square leg or point or wherever I was extremely quick at times. So that was a privilege to watch him blow away people. So yeah, it was a big change. The way that the coaching staff and the way you trained, the facilities you had was very different to Taunton. So yeah, I had to learn on my feet a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you moved to Worcester. What was that like? Kind of going there, mixing, as you said, with new people. And did you enjoy that a lot?
Yeah, it was great because you got new heads, some very experienced heads as well, and I think learning from new ideas, having to bowl on a new type of pitch, everything was very very different. Taunton was still then an extremely a batter's paradise, so I relied on probably just trying to bowl quick and try to do something with it, but try to bowl a lot quicker. Where at Worcester it was a bit more seamer friendly, so I had to hone my skills very differently, especially in white ball cricket. You take a lot of pace off, where at Taunton, you try to go depth and into the block hole as much as possible. So yeah, it just having to sort of relearn some different skills really.
Yeah. Tell me about a birthday party experience, and do you know where I'm going here?
Birthday party experience. I don't know. There's been many experiences on a birthday party, Jake. Quite like a party now and again, Jake. So there
um,
might be a few that I'm meant to be remembering.
you once had a panto in Worcester. Were you given a birthday message?
Yeah, I was. I did. I think I went to see the great band called Take Fat, or I went to see or the Panto, or one of the two. And yeah, I did have a birthday message read out, so I won't share that birthday message with you. But I know it came from your father.
Did you face a better spinner than Ivan Short?
I think Matthias Muller might be up there. Um, even in the net, I'm not sure. Ivan Short came close to maybe uh, a few that I'd faced. The mighty Monty Palliser. He's a very hard spinner to hit when it was bouncing and spinning. Yeah, I think he was very difficult to hit. I think Ivan Short at the Bruton track, but I probably faced a few tougher.
Yeah. I got a few quick fire questions now. Who was your bunny?
My bunny. Uh, I don't know. I forget the amount of cricket I've played, who I've played against, who I used to get out all the time. James Hildreth is a really good friend of mine, and he used to try and whack me every time we played against each other. And I used to get him caught mid off, mid on. Never a genuine wicket. He was always just trying to whack me into next week. I wouldn't say he was my bunny. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There's probably a couple of tail enders that I managed to get on right at the end and pick up a cheap wicket.
Yeah. Who is the best captain you had and why?
I've played with a few different captains that I'd say are really, really good, but for different reasons. I think going back to Graham Smith, because he led troop. He led he led people like he led troops. He led from the front. You'd sit down and listen to every word he said, and I think Marcus as well. Trez was very, very similar. When he did speak about cricket, you just listened and you hung on to every word. Justin Langer was extremely intense, but great guy, well respected. And yet again, he leads from the front, and you follow. Vikram Solanki, just not a better batter to watch, but fine captain, fine gentleman. So I've been lucky to have played with some great captains. All very different.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the way you say, Justin and Marcus Trescothick, it's in, it's incredible because two cricket players that were sensational in their careers and must have been just an absolute privilege.
It was, yeah. It's like I said, I've been extremely lucky and privileged to play with so many great cricketers and meet so many. Get to travel, get to meet so many great people, and have one of the things you lose sometimes when you turn a passion or a hobby into a profession is that you lose the fun because you start putting yourself under a lot of pressure. And it wasn't until later on in my career that I'd actually sit back and you pinch yourself and you go, what am I doing? I just need to enjoy every day here. So that's one of the things that I look back on, and since I've been retired, it's been good to look back and go, well, it was bloody good fun.
Yeah. Who was the most talented player you played with?
Well, this is a difficult one because I've seen so many talented cricketers that you just think, wow, I wish I had an ounce of that talent. And then there's guys that aren't so talented who've made such an amazing career. But I think James Hildreth, he stands out. He was talented at everything he ever did. Football, cricket, hockey. I think went to Millfield to play tennis, played squash. Just remarkable talent overall. I think Vikram Solanki was just extremely talented at everything he did as well. Moeen Ali, just a natural talent, just a natural gift, which these people make everything look so easy. I think Alexi Kavesi, actually from Worcester, he would hit just good balls for four all day. I think all professional cricketers will could just go all day about the talented cricketers around them that made it look very easy.
Yeah, definitely. Who was the fastest bowler you ever faced?
Tymel Mills nearly killed me a couple of times down the hill at Sussex. He was bowling that fast one day that Steve Rhodes, the coach at the time, when I was batting with the tail, told me run to the keeper because the keeper was that far back. And I do remember telling the bloke I was batting with as well, don't look around because when you see it fly through like that, it's pretty frightening. He was really, really quick. Been quite a few. Dirk Nannes, another left armer who was really, really fast. Tino Best, when he got it right, he'd tell you that he's going to kill you as well. Even though I played with Tino, know Tino quite well. he'll tell you he's going to kill you, so that made it a little bit faster, and you didn't know if it was going to bounce sometimes. Yeah, I think so. And some guys were quick and just had that extra change of pace. So like Dale Steyn, I remember playing a one-day game against him, and he bowled me a couple of balls, and I thought, oh, this is all right. And then he bowled me a bumper, and it nearly took my head off. So he had that extra gear to go up. So that was always you always have to be aware of someone like that. Dominic Cork was the same. He could swing it at a nice pace, and then he really threw his bouncer, and it was lethal because it came from nowhere. Yeah, there's been quite a few fast bowlers that have nearly taken my head off.
Yeah. Tell us about the mongoose.
I think I was stupid enough to use it. I would just want to get my own back, really, Jake. It was over a period of time when you bowl all the death overs, or you're bowling power plays and you're getting whacked, and I just thought, well, I do like having a bit of a slog now and again. So it just seemed to be a no-brainer. I thought I'd give it a go, and it seemed to work. I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed using the other former bat as well in the longer format. Used it quite a few times in 4-day cricket, actually, when the time was right. So yeah, I do miss the mongoose. I think I've got one left over that I've hit some runs with, but yeah, it was short-lived, but it probably gave me a little bit of impetus and a bit of belief that I could score some runs.
Yeah, definitely. Since retiring from cricket, what have you done?
Twiddled my thumbs a little bit to start with, but I was lucky that I had an idea of when the time came, when I realised that actually cricket is a short-term vocation in life, then time to actually spend some time doing the hard yards and get into a proper profession. I'd already done a marketing diploma, degree, however you want to call it, so I sort of understood that. But the hard thing for any professional sports person is that because you're so involved in playing and training, you don't always have enough time outside of that to do the work experience, and employers are always looking for it. So I had to sort of start at the beginning, and I then luckily got involved with an insurance brokerage early on at their startup phase, and so I worked with them throughout, and to build a pretty successful now insurance and risk management and financial service business. So I did that, and I chopped in and out of that a little bit as I was a contractor to get some more experience around. I worked for a international nutritional company, USN, and now I found myself at a national accountancy firm. So it's a little bit different than professional sport, but in and amongst that, I've done some pretty tedious roles as well, just to make sure I paid the bills and kept ticking over whilst getting more and more experience and sort of learning the way, really, and just trying to, I suppose, all professional sports people and people that play sport have quite a few attributes that they can take into the workplace that some people that don't play a lot of team sports or haven't had that experience. So trying to draw on that as well to make me something unique.
Yeah. I've got a couple of questions that were sent in before the show. Then we're gonna go for a quick break, and then we'll be back for the chat ones that people are putting in the chat. Now I want you to guess this person. They've sent in 3 questions, and I want by the end you to guess who they've come from. So the first one is was the little goose actually any better to bat with than a normal bat?
It will all be dependent on time, because you look pretty stupid if you go out there and you nick off or you play a rash shot with a little bat. I think I was given a license, so in one-day cricket within power plays and things, when I did quite well, I was given a license. So like any short format game now with big power hitters, you probably come off 1 in 5 games. But if you can win a game from nowhere, then you're happy. But yeah, it's always just picking the right times.
Yeah. If you were a youngster, would you bother with red ball practice or just white ball practice? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, no, that is a really good question, actually, because I think people learn their skills. You learn to bowl. You get all the workload done with the red ball, whether it's because the white format is so much shorter. You don't get to hone your skills, and then white ball skills are only slightly different because you're learning how to take pace off, and the back of the hand balls and knuckle balls, but that only comes with having a strong base to work from, and I think that only comes from red ball cricket or the longer format sometimes. So I wouldn't put anyone off just trying to practice white ball skills, because you still need to run in and hit a length or know that you have to hit the stumps.
Yeah. And the final one is recall Mitchell Powell's dismissal at Canterbury.
Oh, Michael Powell, poor Mikey Powell. So Alan Richardson, who was a absolute fine bowler for Worcester, never bowled a bad ball. I used to field a fair bit at third slip or gully in close, and it wasn't a very quick wicket at Canterbury, and Richard decided to bowl a big long op to Mikey Powell, and he cut it full-bloodedly straight at me. And one side of the wicket, because we were really close, one side of the wicket, you're staring straight at a red old building, which I didn't really pick it up very well. I managed to get my finger in the way of the ball before it hit me in the side of the head, and then looped over to a running Daryl Mitchell, called it a second slip. So everyone's celebrating. I'm on a heap on the floor with my fingers half hanging off, a big lump on my head, and then I go off, and I was just about to bowl, so I go off to Steve Rhodes trying to get me back out the door to, you're bowling in a minute, you're bowling in a minute. So I had 5-minute break just to try and get myself together. And then poor Mikey Powell, I bumped into him on the stairs, and I did apologise, because it did bounce off my noggin.
Matt Pardo sent in these questions, and this was his version of the story. He said, "I was at mid-on, short wide ball cut hard. Gareth didn't get his hands together, and it hit him on the forehead to Mitchell at second slip, who took the catch." Thanks, Matt, for sending those questions in. And quite extraordinary.
I should have got an assist for that, because it did strike me on the finger first. It probably went down as a drop catch, but yeah.
Yeah. People have sent in some questions in the live chat, but before I do put them to Gareth, please see the video here on Canning Town Len, and we will be back very, very shortly. Canning Town Len is your best place to buy custom portraits that you can buy on the internet. Canning Town Len does animated portraits like this one he did for me up here. They're absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't recommend them enough. So just some ones that he did for me. I've got this one here outside the London Stadium. I mean, it looks just like me, really. The best possible kind of animated portrait, kind of animated cartoon kind of picture I could hope for, really. They're absolutely amazing, and they are so realistic, look exactly like me, and they are very good to buy. So make sure you do click the link in the description down below to buy a portrait from Canning Town Len. I'd highly recommend them. Click the link in the description down below. He does animated portraits, non-West Ham related, West Ham related, lots of different backgrounds, any shirt, any background. You can basically customize it to your absolute kind of needs and what you exactly want. So click the link in the description down below to check out Canning Town Len. Come on, your irons. As I said there, check out Canning Town Len for all of your portraits. I will put my one up there that Canning Town Len did for me if I can. I'll put it in big screen there. They're absolutely fantastic. There I am. You can tell on that video, Gareth, that was filmed quite a while ago, because I didn't have so much hair then, and we weren't in lockdown. So,
well, usually why you've got it, mate.
Yeah. Right, let's get to the questions in chat, see what you guys are asking. Firstly, Scott says, "Hi Gareth, being an avid Surrey fan, I'm sure you've caused me many a headache in the past. And best bowler you faced?"
Best bowler I faced. It's a tough one. Real tough one. I think you look at some of the international bowlers now. I think Jimmy Anderson, obviously, all hail Jimmy, because he's just unbelievable. Has been for a long, long time. Got to play against Jimmy a fair bit when he was younger. Yeah, I think just because he is such a legend and has made me look stupid on a number of times. I think Jimmy Anderson.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the best there's been for a long time in terms of England fast bowlers. Absolutely superb. Scott also asked, why does the Yorker seem to be out of fashion now?
I just think people have to mix it up. I don't think people have to go to Yorkers anymore because so many people are so good at splitting the fields by ramping, scooping, whatever they want to do. Death bowling is a really hard thing to get right, and with the change of ball now, like the two balls, you don't get a ball that really reverses anymore. So it makes it so difficult when you've got two newer balls to get that Yorker right in or any movement off the straight. So people can line you up and power hit, and yeah, it's very tough. So I think there is a mixture of using Yorker, but it has to be used sometimes. You can't just people can't just predict you, because if you went to Yorker all the time, people nowadays are very easy either hit you out of the park or ramp you for four. So it's I don't think it's gone out of fashion, but I just think everyone's adapting a lot more to the newer game.
Yeah. Jamie says, was it a tough decision choosing cricket for Somerset over Sunday morning at the Dovecote Stadium? Also, how have you found the transition out of progressional sport unit and your current career?
Well, I had many a fine Sunday morning at the Dovecote Stadium with Jamie and many others. So that held me in great stead, actually, moving into the professional game, because one off the line is as good as a goal. Learned that at a young age. Never hit it down onto the cricket pitch because you had to run all the way down the hill to fetch it. But yeah, no, I think professional sport just gives you a huge amount of attributes, whether it's man management, determination, resilience, all of those sort of things. I struggled a fair bit with injury and at times being a bowler, and you've had your dark days, but it just sort of sets you up and it makes you slightly different to everyone else. You just have to watch your language a lot more in the professional workplace. And there's not as much banter, not like in the dressing room. Yeah, that was probably the hardest thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Tom says, Gareth, who was the best batsman you ever faced?
Well, probably in my last season or the season before, I played quite a few games in the Southern Group when I was at Hampshire against Kumar Sangakkara. And then the number of times where I got him out twice actually that season, and yeah, he just makes the game and batting look so good, so easy. And the lads would come up to the huddle and just sort of give you one in the ribs and say, "What are you doing? I was looking forward to watching him get 100 today. Why have you got him out?" So I think recently Kumar Sangakkara is probably up there with one of the prized wickets. Yeah, there's loads of great batters. All the English batters, played against Joe Root when he was younger. Bairstow hits the ball so hard. Yeah, it's quite a daunting. Like Joss Butler, with Joss, you just know that he can pick you up over fine leg for six or hit you over your head for six. It doesn't really matter. Those guys are so talented. Sometimes you're at the end of your mark going, oh no, here we go. Where's this going?
Yeah. Scott says, I'm looking forward to see how Solanke does at Surrey this year.
Great man.
Can you still do Dave the Rave impression? Oh god.
I can. I'm not sure if it's David Raven. Not right. God rest his soul. Yeah, poor old Dave. Yeah, local legend.
Andy says, hi Gareth. Do you think results in cricket are a lot harder to call, like the football with no crowds in the stadiums?
I think the shorter format maybe. Well, actually, no. I'd see England if they're in India, tougher conditions, or maybe having some sort of support there for them would make a difference. I think in football, I think it takes a huge amount away for travelling for home sides than it does in cricket. But there are certain places in the country you go playing cricket that you'd say, Yorkshire would be one where you went there and it can be quite hostile. Lancashire is another hostile one. certain outgrounds. Sometimes when you got the fans right on your back. Sometimes with Somerset, Gloucester, the Gloucester fans can get pretty rowdy. And then Birmingham, when you're playing Worcester, Birmingham, you got the Holly stand, which is going mad. They're all in fancy dress, all 10 pints deep. So you're getting a lot of youth. So there's a lot of pressure on you. But I think Scarborough probably would be one of the nastiest places to go because they're chucking chips over your shoulder to feed the seagulls, and these seagulls are like Dobermans, like size of dogs that come flying down. Got tattoos and everything. They're pretty mean. So I think there is a little bit of it in cricket, but not as much as not as much as is in football.
Yeah. How has getting married and becoming a dad changed your life?
Oh, it's been brilliant. Our little girl Hallie is just remarkable. Every day is a fun day. I'm looking at my trousers now. I'm soaking wet. She just soaked me in the bath. So getting married was fantastic as well. So I've done a lot of things actually since I retired. Probably hid behind cricket, getting in the way of a lot of things when over the years, which I probably regret. But usually it's a bit of an excuse. But since cricket's finished and I retired, and it's been amazing for the last 5 years. We've done some amazing things. So
Jazza asks, was Stokesy's performance today one of the best of all time?
I haven't managed to see it, to be fair, because we've been moving house and packing, and I've been here and up in the loft and in the storage, and I tried to watch 5-10 minutes of it earlier. But anything that Stokesy does is just remarkable. The bloke is an absolute freak when it comes to the skill and his talent. He is probably out there. Well, he's my favourite cricketer of probably my generation. He's remarkable bloke.
Yeah, definitely. Who was the best character in the changing room?
Quite lucky to play with a lot of characters. Some nuts, absolutely nuts. Some just strange. I think James Cameron at Worcester, he was a Zimbabwean that had moved over from from Western Australia actually. But one of the funniest guys. You just had to look at him and you just make you laugh. Some of his stories from back home in Zim, and he just made you laugh. Vikram Solanki was a funny guy. Mike Burns, now the umpire from Somerset. I remember he was my training partner for a couple of winters, and a lot more senior than I was. But just a real funny bloke. Right character.
Yeah. Did you enjoy banter from the crowd and with the crowd?
Yeah, no, I definitely did, because if you didn't give it back or you didn't take it very well, then you'd get crucified. One of the places I probably missed off was Essex. I only played one game there in the 2020 because the South Group, we never really, when I was at Worcester, never played against Essex. So when I was at Hampshire, we played at Essex, and that was pretty horrendous. There's some of the language coming from some of the younger members of the crowd, or even the senior members of the crowd, senior citizens. It was you just need to play with them, because if you keep them engaged, they're not always there to watch the cricket. They're there to just abuse people. So keep them engaged, have a bit of fun, and then just hope you don't drop one.
Yeah. Hello, Mum. Hope you're well. If you were still playing professionally now, which county would you like to play for?
Oh, it's a tough one. I think it's all now the bigger counties, the first class, the first division counties are pretty much feeders for this new 100 ball competition and international squads. So it would be one of the top counties. So I was very lucky to play at Hampshire. They looked after me extremely well before, in the year that I played there before I retired. So I'd owe it to Hampshire for this one.
Yeah. Coming to the end of the comments, I like this one. How did you enjoy hitting Kevin Peterson for 6 on TV?
I was a big hoik into the leg side. I hit him for three in the over. I don't think he liked it very much, but then he's whacked me all over the park. So I just, again, it's just getting to my own back, really.
Yeah. That's the last question that's come in. Gareth, thank you very much for coming on tonight. You had a fantastic career and lots of stories. And thank you very much for coming on.
Cheers, Jake. Thanks very much for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you. So, guys, please subscribe to West Ham Unofficial. Hit the like button. Do all that stuff. Leave a comment as well. I will be back very soon. Subscribe, all of that stuff. And there's just one question, just as I was going to end it, that's come in. How much do you have to thank both of your parents?
Oh, they were huge, driver for me. Obviously, one of the reasons I probably retired was that losing both those guys in the last year that I played, probably was a. I think I got to the end of the season, I was just completely emotionally drained, and so that probably made me look outside of cricket and look at sort of driving my life forward outside of cricket. So, but yeah, Mum used to drive me everywhere. Dad was the driving force in getting me to play all the sports, and he coached me as a kid. And so if it wasn't for him and my mum's input, then I wouldn't be where I am today. So they're a massive for me.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us tonight in the chat and for Gareth, and I'll be back very soon. From me, come on your irons, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you, Gareth.